All right. Here we go. Starting recording. All right. Earnestly podcast here with the man, Big Jim, James Nies. We're doing our second ever watch along on Earnestly podcast. Big Jim, glad to have you with me, man, to do this.
Yeah, man, it's good to be back. It's the right time of year, and I think the first time was it the first time you ever had me on? Was it? No, was it WrestleMania season or was it SummerSlam season?
The first time you had me on back in 2014, 2013?
Yeah, way back in the day.
No, actually, I thought it was, and I looked back at the episode. It was actually in the summertime.
Okay,
it was actually reacting to Roddy Piper's death and Hogan getting in trouble and being taken off the network.
Okay, all right, yes, that was like August. All right, I knew it was around one of the bigger events or bigger something, but yeah, right. Dude, right time of year, man. It's WrestleMania. I'm getting excited. We're less than 2 weeks out now since it's a Saturday Sunday again this year. So
no, it's crazy because we did the first watch along last year with my good friend Ray Moraldi, and we did the Survivor Series, and I thought I would stay on top of doing more of these, but for some reason I haven't done another one since then. I know we talked about doing it and stuff, but football got in the way.
It is tough, man. Like time gets away, and I mean, 3 count. We've done a couple this year, and because it just so happens, unfortunately, I'm unemployed at the moment. So, Ryan, one of the other guys on the show, he's always off on Tuesdays. So we, I think it's helpful for me to pass time. We just jump on and do some sort of pod stuff on Tuesdays a lot of times, whether it's a pay-per-view recap or watch along or anything like that. So. We've been able to put a few in the can. We have a few for rainy day sort of a situation, but it's tough, man. Time gets away.
Yeah, so I look forward to this one because this is actually one of my all-time favorite matches. Everybody knows me. I'm a big diehard Macho Man Randy Savage fan, and this one is actually from a WrestleMania I did see in real time, WrestleMania 7, from March 24th, 1991, from the Los Angeles Sports Arena, which was originally supposed to be at the Coliseum, but of course, with all of the death threats and stuff that was happening around the time, because of course the Gulf War was going on this time too, they decided to put this event indoors instead. But this match between Macho and the Ultimate Warrior, truly a legendary match. Some backstory on this before we get started. First of all, we're doing a watch along, so. If you have Peacock, by the way, because Peacock is now the exclusive way to watch anything WWE from this point on, well, especially from next week on, because April 5th.
Yeah, I was going to say April the 4th is the actual final day, but for me, I'm fully on the Peacock now.
Yeah, totally on the Peacock.
I'm not getting caught in a soundbite.
No, it's okay. No, we ain't doing that.
One of the guys on our show the other week, he got, and I haven't put it on the board yet. I keep
it's going on the board though.
Not quite, not yet. But he said that he said totally on the C. So I'm not. I'm threatening him to put it on the board.
Is it better than Sausage Guy?
Man, I don't know, because
that's pretty darn good, man.
Because this one is a little more straightforward. It's a little more to the point where Ryan's Sausage Guy one. That one's just that one's funny.
Right. Okay, so this match between Ultimate Warrior and the Macho King Randy Savage is a retirement match. How we got here, obviously you'll see the build up as we start this watch along. But okay, so WrestleMania 6, a year before this event, Ultimate Warrior was the crowned the new WWE champion when he defeated Hulk Hogan in that legendary Ultimate Challenge match. Ultimate Warrior will be champion up until Royal Rumble 1991. Leading up to the Royal Rumble, Macho King had challenged the Ultimate Warrior for his title in numerous ways. One way you'll see in this build-up was Sherry trying to solicit herself to get a title match for Macho, and Warrior kept saying no. So cue up to Royal Rumble 1991. Ultimate Warrior has a title match against Sergeant Slaughter. Macho King is a major presence in that match, coming in multiple times and ultimately bashing Ultimate Warrior in the head with his scepter, which cost Warrior the match and the title. Sergeant Slaughter became world champion. which then now leads to this. WrestleMania 7, between the Macho King and the Ultimate Warrior, the loser has to, quote-unquote, retire.
Dude,
like
my favorite part about and this actually was the first WrestleMania I watched live, because this was
right.
what year was it?
91.
91.
I was turning 11 that year.
So I was 5, because I would turn 6 in July of 91. But yeah, I remember we went to a coworker of my dad's. They were big wrestling fans, so we all went over there and watched it. But it's funny, you know, if you look back on it, because the very next year at WrestleMania 8, Savage is the champion, or wins the title, and then Warrior returns.
It's so weird.
You know, it's hilarious.
This whole era from this point on, this era going into the end of the Hulkamania era, because this is pretty much the start of the end of the Hulkamania era, pretty much. You can definitely see the wear and tear. Definitely a lot of weird things going on in that time. For the listeners here listening on the podcast, you will, if you have Peacock, of course, you go to WrestleMania 7, which actually it says Season 7, Episode 1 of WrestleMania. Don't ask me. I don't make the rules. They just I can't stand this. Your timestamp rather is at 1 hour 17 minutes 23 seconds. If you need to pause the podcast, do so at this point. You'll notice.
Wait for your commercials to play.
Yeah, you have the ads. I can't help with the ads.
If you have the $4.99 version.
Yeah. Oh boy, that's gonna be a problem, because I don't know if there are any ads in between the stuff. But in any case, I encourage you to get the $10 a month. It's worth it. Trust me. So 1 hour, 17 minutes, 23 seconds. You'll see Undertaker's face. Don't worry about it. We will get into the Warrior and Savage material in about a second. So otherwise, if you pause it already, if you need to pause it, pause it. Otherwise, we'll get started. Jim, want to count us down?
Sure. We'll go 3, 2, 1, go.
Ooh, look at Taker. Scary. By the way, that is the scariest Undertaker ever for me.
I mean, I think the Ministry one, and it's funny that we mentioned an ad, because I'm actually on an ad, a 30-second ad. But I can catch up. We'll fill in, but I'll just fast forward like 30 seconds when I come out of the ad. But it I thought the Ministry Taker was like the creepiest, but the original Undertaker was probably like the scariest.
Yes, easily.
Sure.
Easily. This Taker gave me nightmares, actually.
Really?
Papa Shango
gave me nightmares.
Look at Sherry giving her all. Come on, Warrior. Give me
Oh my gosh, dude, there was so much like I think I'm about caught up with it, because now I got the Warrior's head shaking around. Is that about where you're at?
No, I'm a little behind. I'm actually lagging a little bit. I may actually end up going on my cell phone and doing this. Give me a second. Let it keep rolling. No. First off, why the hell would you tell him no anyway? To begin with, aren't you like the Warrior? You take all challengers, but Macho, you don't want to take on Macho? Really?
Yeah, it's strange. It's strange. What I'll do is, because there's a little bit of discrepancy when I actually get to like coming out of the video package, I'll pause it, and then we'll make sure we're synced up.
So right now, I'm seeing Warrior chase what's her face out to the arena, and there's Macho coming out right now. Boom.
Okay.
God, I love Macho. Macho's the man, dude.
Tell you what, I'm at the point I just saw him get hit in the head with the scepter. Let me know when you're at that, and I'll hit.
I'm leaning up there right now. I'm at Macho and Warrior right now doing the Gaga.
But yeah, I mean, I just remember, like, as a kid, like this was such a fun. The hate between these guys felt real, and I think that's something that like sometimes might get a little lost in today's wrestling. Now, there are obviously storylines where it's better than others, but man, it felt real.
Okay, are you the scepter? Pass it already? You said. Okay, I'm actually queuing up my phone right now to get where we need to go.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, he's holding his head after getting blasted by the scepter.
Okay.
Now he's running out of. But I remember that scepter blast too, man. That was a shot. That was a shot.
Okay, right now I'm at 119.23. Where are you at?
Yeah, that's where I'm at too.
Okay, cool.
We're within like a second of each other, so we're good.
Yeah, keep running. It's okay. I keep running.
We'll go mobile. But you know, it felt like the hate between these guys felt palpable, and like that's you know, and then that's something, you know, right, wrong, or indifferent with today's wrestling. You know, a lot of people can talk about things anymore, but you know, one thing that they did so well back then, when you had some of the bigger, and not just the storylines for the championship, but some of your bigger storylines for your pay-per-views, and maybe there she is, but maybe
another
because
subplot story,
you only had 4 pay-per-views a year, maybe it was easier to convey that level of passion and emotion into the storylines. I mean, I don't think we'll ever go back to a point where we have fewer than 1 pay-per-view a month, but I think it made it easier.
Dude, I swear. You know, look, I get most people probably prefer Savage and Liz together, and I understand it. You can't compare the two, but my God, Savage and Sherry were amazing.
Oh, that heel pairing?
Yes.
So good.
Because he really fit his personality.
I think Savage, especially in the WWF, was a much better heel than he was face. Like, he was a great face. And I think it was because he, you know, and now you hear the stories of him, you know, he made sure he had different attire and different entrance attire and stuff every night. So like that level of detail, I think the way he carries himself fits so much better as a heel.
He was so look at him. Everything is detailed. The entrance, going to the ring, having Snapper to do, you know, to open a ring post, and kind of like everything was so meticulous with Randy.
Like I always loved the way he got into the ring with the little hop. Like it just, you know, I always imagined if I was going to be a wrestler that I was going to get in the ring that way, and you know, fate and cheeseburgers took me out of that.
Now these two guys actually met before, not very high publicized, but when the Mega Powers broke up in February '89, and Savage went to heel again. He was out Liz. Warrior and Savage did have a couple matches prior to Mania 5. I guess the idea was for Randy to get back to the heel, get heat, because obviously he was a babyface for a whole year and a half. Warrior was you know, the rumblings, and Warrior was on the way up now. So that was the idea. Now Warrior won a lot of those matches by, you know, count out and whatnot. But yeah, this is actually not a new rivalry, but this is the one that was more publicized because, of course, Randy, you know, was trying to get back at the title. Warrior was the champion at the time he challenged him. This was actually probably, in my opinion, the best feud going in the company at that time. I was invested in this even more than Hogan and Slaughter.
Yeah, I mean, because I think too, is like as a kid, I loved like the Ultimate Warrior so much. Like,
you see that? There's a fan that held his jacket like, "Get off of me, leave me alone." Another one. What a dick!
But like he was, and it's weird now to see Warrior walk out to the ring, but like, you know, he had the tassels and the colors and the face paint, and like, I think you know, it spoke to like younger kids and like the promos, and it's like, what the heck, you know, you go back like, what the heck was this guy talking about? But it didn't have to mean anything because it was just, you know, because I had my parents buy me the little tassel things on the WWF, the merchandise out of the magazine. You tie them on, and you know, so like this one probably did connect with me a little bit more.
I was probably the only kid at this time who hated Warrior. I was never a Warrior guy. Never.
Damn.
No. I was.
Oh man,
I was a Hogan guy from day one. When Warrior feuded with Rude for Rude.
No kidding.
Yes.
Wow.
I was never a Warrior guy. I don't know what it was.
Because like as a kid, what do I know about what does Sergeant Slaughter defecting to an Iraqi sympathizer mean to me at 5 years old? You know what I mean? Like that doesn't mean anything. This one, I know one of these guys is going away forever.
forever.
Exactly. Forever. We know that game. But like as a kid, I'm like, oh my God, one of they're going to be gone. They're not going to be wrestling anymore.
Mm-hmm. No, I was a Savage guy too. So my number 2 guy was Randy. Now it's flipped. Now it's Savage 1 and Hogan after.
Gotcha.
But as a kid, it was Hogan then Savage, and I was rooting for Savage the entire time. This entire feud. I love that when Slaughter beat him. Like I hated Slaughter too because of the whole anti-American thing, but I loved it for the fact that you're the Ralph Warrior.
But yeah, man, like when I was down here, waiting for you to be ready. I started watching this show from the start. Holy cow, man! Like looking back on it, you can tell without question that Hogan was going to win that title because the jump, it's the patriotic WrestleMania and America the Beautiful and Hacksaw Duggan's commentating on the first match, and they just keep talking about this patriotic WrestleMania, and I'm like, oh my, like, and obviously all the graphics are red, white, and blue. It's like, man, they couldn't have spelled that out any harder, could they?
Right. It does surprise me sometimes. I mean, obviously not so much as I got older and learning the business and whatnot. But there's Liz, Mike's wife. I still love her. Oh my God, as we love
Beautiful.
her. What was I saying? It did surprise me a little bit though at the time that they didn't go back to the well again for another Warrior Hogan match. I mean, obviously you know why now. Warrior was actually a bit of a disappointment as a champion in terms of commerce. He didn't move the needles the much they thought he would, which is why they got the belt off of him.
Right.
But I am surprised they didn't try to go back to another Warrior Hogan rematch. Which ended up becoming more common if you think about it because they didn't go back to the well for Savage or Hogan either on a Mania again. And that made a lot of money in Mania 5. Mania 5 actually was their biggest pay-per-view prior for a number of years to like Mania 17, I believe. So I know it's still surprising, but again, when you learn these things as you get older, you learn the business and why the whys and why nots and whatnot. Numerous podcasts listen to, it makes sense.
Yeah, and I think obviously with the Warrior because I think he was especially spoke more to kids like. Him as champion, it doesn't really matter. Like as a kid, you don't necessarily care if your favorite guy's champion or not. You just like him. So like he's not going to necessarily move the needle for adults. But it is kind of surprising, especially in the Attitude Era and beyond. You stick with feuds and you go back to how many times did Rock Austin and Triple H pass the title around in the late 90s, early 2000s. So it is a little bit surprising that they didn't go back to certain wells back in the day. But man, like this even in the early portion of this match so far, like just watching it, it's been a long time since I've watched this WrestleMania or anything from this WrestleMania. Like this match in and of itself too shows how good Randy Savage was to get this much emotion out of a match with the Ultimate Warrior, because Warrior, he's not a technical wrestler, he's not a 40-minute guy, he's not a million moves guy. Warrior's Warrior, and to get emotion and story and all of this out of a matchup with him, dude, that's Savage. That is a ring general to a T.
Everybody always says that Warrior's best match was against Hogan in Mania 6. I disagree. It's definitely top 3. This match is Warrior's best match, in my opinion. Easily.
I'd have to go back, and maybe I'll do that after we're done recording. Maybe I'll go back and watch the Mania 6 match after this, because I've never put the two side by side with each other to compare them. But just even in the early moments of this one, it's great for a Warrior match to be great. Tells you all you need to know, and that's what make Savage was just so good at that.
Yeah, I think Mania 6 with Hogan and the Warrior was more of a psychological marvel.
Sure.
Look at this. Slaps him. Look, he picks him up, gets in his head. That's psychology.
Sure, absolutely.
That's Macho, and I guarantee that's Macho on top of that, because Macho was the king of this stuff.
I would love to know, and I don't know if Pritchard or anybody ever talked about it, but I know Savage used to, meticulously go over his matches beforehand, like the match with Steamboat and stuff like that. I'd be curious to know if he did that and how much they did with this one.
I think to some degree. Now, a lot of people say they didn't like working the Warrior. Apparently, Savage did like working the Warrior. So, take it what you will.
Yeah, because they said he was hard to work with, and he didn't if he didn't want to do something or whatever, that he just would kind of do his own thing. And I think I remember hearing the story. That's why they put him with Andre early on, because Andre kind of brought him down. Because here's the thing,
Humbled him.
Exactly, because you're not gonna do anything in the ring that Andre the Giant doesn't want you to, because Andre will just impose his strength and will and size.
Oh,
so
who the fuck are you, Warrior?
Anybody want a peanut?
Oh, fuck you, Warrior! I'll kick your ass.
So, but yeah, I mean that is a little surprising that Savage loved working with him.
Yeah, it was shocking because Pritchard admitted that. He's like, really? Cool. And it's actually, I learned that again because I watched for like the fifth time, the Something Else to Wrestle podcast on the network. And they did the Mega Powers thing again. They did the Mega Powers. It's funny. I watched that, and there were episodes I didn't watch at the time it released it. I saw for the first time this week, like the Cena episode and the CM Punk episode.
Okay.
Because at the time I was watching the current product, I was still watching all the old shit. So now that I'm watching the current product, now I want to know. Oh, look at that butt shot by Sherry.
There it is,
dude. Since they saw Sherry was a great bump machine.
Gosh, oh my God, yeah, fantastic.
Yeah,
fantastic. She was never afraid to get involved, never afraid to take a bump, to take a shot. And that's it, because, well, first off, you don't see a lot of managers, for one, except outside of AEW. You don't see a lot of valets anymore, period. So like,
I hate that. And then am I the only one? I hate that. I like Gaga. I love Gaga. You tell the story.
You gotta have managers. You gotta have valets, especially. There's a Sherry bump. There it is. But like, it helps tell the story, man. And when when that heel manager, when that heel valet, finally gets shoved, finally gets hit, and I get it. Like, why in today's world you don't necessarily want to have, a guy shoving a female valet or something, but Sherry was so good at it.
Fucking kicking the Warrior. Let's go. Warrior? Who's that? I'll kick him. I don't give a crap. Oh my God. All three have passed since Sherry's gone.
Shit, yeah, that's
Warrior passed away in 2014. Of course, Savage. We lost Savage in 2011. I was devastated when Savage passed away. I was devastated.
That one hit me weird. Warrior was a big one because right after WrestleMania 30 was the first year that we had 3 count. Yeah, it was the first year we had 3 count Thursday.
Got inducted that weekend, then came on Raw the very next night after Mania, and then died the very next day.
Yeah. On the way, he was traveling home on Tuesday and died after he landed in Phoenix.
Strange.
Crazy. And like, because we did a special 3 count episode then. I remember because like it was we had just started doing 3 count Thursday that year, and so we were really keyed into the whole wrestling world. Warrior just running back and forth. But yeah, man, that one sucked. And I mean, also Elizabeth gone too. So like really all 4 of the people.
She died on my 23rd birthday, actually.
Oh, damn.
May 1st, 2003.
Crazy.
That one kind of messed you up a little bit too. But I think of all the wrestlers that passed away, the one that really shook me up the most was probably Savage. I would say Piper was a little shocking. Who was? Obviously Owen Hart, but that was, I don't count that. Different. That was just a tragedy upon itself.
Piper's when that topic comes up, Piper is probably the one that F's with me the most. because we had started working with a local indie company here in Pennsylvania,
right.
and that May, Piper was like the featured guest.
Wow.
And it was only the second month that we had worked with them. So we're just sitting there getting our notes ready. And they brought Piper in, and they were showing him where his table was going to be, where he was going to sign, and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And when he walked by us, he stopped and introduced himself to us and shook our hand.
That's awesome.
Like,
I was really nice. I was a really nice guy,
dude. And like we were kind of dumbfounded because like we didn't know what to say to him or anything, because we're still kind of deer in the headlights. You know, he shakes our hand or whatever, and then obviously it was just a few months later that he passed, and it was like, oh, like holy crap, we just saw the guy, you know, and like, so yeah, it just that one sticks with me, and because I had listened to his podcast, but right, you know, the Piper's Pit podcast before he passed.
I did in spots actually, listen to it back then in spots.
So yeah, man, it messed with me. That one still messed with me.
By the way, camera guy there's probably having a great time shooting Sherry. He's got like at least 4 ass shots.
Darn right, man. That's probably Vince. You know, I'm assuming Vince is still producing at that point, and he's going, "Come on, get tighter in on the ass."
Look at Warrior. Look at the Warrior small package.
There it is.
The Warrior, the small package. Wow. What a match. What a match.
Yeah, like, I mean, I remember as a kid when you guys rolled up in a small package, I was screaming, "Pan cover!" You know, he's hitting 3. You know, it's the old gimmick. And as a kid, there's a good rep.
Look at a sell by Hebner. Oversell.
I think that's actually that's Dave Hebner, right? That's the older brother, I think.
Sure. Who took the money? Who had to pass the surgery? Which one?
I think it was Dave, right?
Oh, look at Sherry.
But the Hebners were great bumpers too.
Yeah. Speaking of bumpers, I'll ask you that. I'm glad you said that. I don't think I can find 2 wrestlers who can sell better than Randy Savage and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, they're up there. I mean,
like Macho sells phenomenally. He gets hit like he really like you believe he got hit.
In today, Dolph Ziggler is a pretty damn good seller.
I actually agree with that.
Pretty damn good seller, but yeah, Michael Savage definitely up there. Michael's definitely up there. Bret Hart, I thought
too. I was gonna say that
is a really good seller.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always believed that anything that happened to him was happening.
I think my favorite part of the match is coming up right now. The 5 elbows in a row.
Oh my God, I remember. Yeah. To me, as it like just what, and I'm like, he's gonna die. Like I'm thinking he's gonna die. You know.
There we go.
Doing that.
Yep. Nah, man. Like I would put this in among Randy's matches of all time. This is actually probably Randy's last great match too. Think about that, because there really isn't any signature matches I can really think of from Macho beyond 91. Like the Flair match in Mania 8 was okay. It wasn't a classic.
It wasn't their best match, but it was still a good match. But it definitely wasn't their best match.
This was his last great 5-star match in my opinion.
Why does the guy next to Liz look like Cousin Larry from Perfect Strangers?
Cousin Larry, Balky.
But yeah, I mean, definitely in the WWF because. Mm-hmm. You know, Savage, he wasn't wrestling like in WrestleMania 9 time. WrestleMania 10, he had that terrible match with Crush.
We're not going to talk about that one.
Oof.
Oh, here we go. Here's the elbows.
Here it comes. But then, yeah, and then he was off to WCW, and there's nothing about his WCW run that sticks out to me as great.
Right. As great, right. Good, not great.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and it's a shame, man, because like, I mean, I know he was getting older, but you think he could have still had a decent run,
right?
Man, such a good elbow drop.
Could be also injuries too. I would imagine his house show matches were amazing, for years, and probably that's why.
I mean, I had seen him at a couple house shows in Hershey over the years.
Really?
Were solid. Oh yeah.
Fucking Macho. There's number 4 coming up now.
Such a great elbow drop.
Oh yeah, I love the outfit he had on him and Sherry.
Did you ever hear the story about like in certain matches, especially once
Is that Donald Trump?
It is Trump. Right there in the front row. Well, because Marla Maples was a special guest on this one. Was he married to her then?
Yes.
Okay, so that explains it too. I mean, being in L.A. as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, good eye. I don't think I would have spotted that one.
I know that face from anywhere.
I try to forget that face.
Oh my god.
But Savage, like he would he would do some foreshadowing with his outfits, because like this one, he's the heel going in, but he wore white, which signified a babyface turn at the end.
Yeah.
And then the next year, when he won the title, he was wearing gold at WrestleMania 8, signifying he's going to win the title. So there was certain points in his career where he would kind of tip the hand of the match a little bit if you were really paying attention. Right. So that's something over the years, like if I see, when I see like, if Seth Rollins is out in white, like I'm thinking, oh, is he going to turn? I think like, are they tipping their hand a little bit depending on what they're wearing, especially on a big pay-per-view?
This was a topic that we were considering doing on Take 3 last week. But we didn't do it. I'm going to pose this question to you.
Okay.
You look at WrestleMania. We're going to have, by the end of next month, we're going to have 37 WrestleManias they can. Obviously, we think of Mr. WrestleMania. We think of Shawn Michaels, Heartbreak Kid, of course.
Sure.
If you were to do a Mount Rushmore of WrestleMania greats.
Oh, wow.
Who would be on your Mount Rushmore? Like, is it possible that Randy Savage, given the great matches he did throughout his career in WWF, could be on the Mount Rushmore? Because think about it. You had the Steamboat match, obviously, which is still regarded as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, not just Mania match, but match of all time, period. You have the tournament. Now, the tournament in Mania 4 wasn't necessarily it wasn't necessarily like, it wasn't A++, but there were some moments there. You fight 4 times in the night. That's pretty impressive. Mania 5 at Hogan, obviously a classic. It's definitely like a 3 or 4 star match. I don't know about you. What do you think about Dusty and Sapphire versus Macho? But then this match, you got this match. This match to me is a 5-star match.
It's so good. Either. Like, I forgot how good this match was. I remember as a kid, I thought that Warrior and Texas Tornado were the same guy. When his face paint melted off.
Okay, you think I'm nuts? Because that I can see that. When I was 8 years old. No. I'm with you. But you think I'm nuts for saying this shit. When I was 8 years old, someone told me that Macho and Warrior were the same guy. And I believe.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's
now, mind you, I was 8 years old.
Sure, yeah. I mean, at 8, you believe a lot of things.
And I looked at them and was like, well, they both got kind of long hair, and without the paint, I don't know. Just stupid, of course. But I'm 8 years old. I used to think.
By the way, I'm going to steal that WrestleMania Mount Rushmore topic for either this week or next week for 3 count, because that's a good one. But like off the top of my head, without thinking about it, I mean, Michaels is on there.
Michael is.
Taker's on there. So like those 2 have to be on there. Then it gets a little tricky, because then you go like, Bret Hart had some great matches at WrestleMania. Like WrestleMania 7, he had in the tag match, and then WrestleMania 8, that match with Piper was fantastic. Like his match with Owen at WrestleMania 10 was amazing. The Iron Man match, his match with Austin at 13. Like he didn't have a long WrestleMania resume, especially as a single. But like, it's a strong one. But you're starting to go into like modern era, like. Cena had a lot of huge wins at Mania. The Rock's probably got to be on there.
Kurt Angle?
Angle might be, but it's like I mean, Hogan had a lot. Hogan had a lot, but Hogan had big wins. He had big wins, but did he have great matches?
Hogan had the moments.
He had moments. So like, do you weigh moments higher? Right. Man, that's a kind of good question. That's a good question. I'm putting that in my phone right now. That's gonna be on. That's probably that's probably gonna be on 3 count this week because the next week is when we do our
Mania.
We do our takeover and Mania previews. So yeah, definitely
So
the WrestleMania Mount Rushmore.
You and I both host our own wrestling podcasts, and this next couple weeks gonna be kind of strange. Like, for us, we're doing this week. We're gonna have 2 guests on the show, friends of Mike and Joe, and the whole episode's gonna be WrestleMania Jeopardy.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. I'm looking forward to hearing that one.
Mike's the host, and we have 4 guys competing. Then we might do a watch along of Mania 17, Austin Rock. Maybe we'll see.
Nice.
And then the week after, we're trying to figure this out too, also because of the scheduling, because they're going to WrestleMania. You know that, right?
Oh, that's right. They're
going to WrestleMania. Joe, you might have heard in the podcast, but Joe hates flying, so he's taking a train down from fucking.
Okay, I was wondering how that was gonna. Yeah, I'm with him. I've never flown in my life.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it scares the hell out of me.
That's not bad. It's not bad. Take some drugs.
It's just like I have like bad anxiety. If we hit turbulence, I'm gonna be the guy who gets up and yells, "We're gonna die!" That's gonna be me. I love Savage every time he takes the shoulder going out of the ring. I love that.
I hate this shit here. I hate
the stepping on him.
Yeah, what's so fucked up? So Savage loses, so he retires. This piece of shit Warrior gets fired by Vince like 4 months later.
I know.
Remember?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Savage is still around. He still do commentary and all that. So he just needed a break more than anything else. That's why he's retired.
Oh yeah. And if you think about it, that was the end of him as the Macho King.
It was.
So like,
see here,
in a way with the retirement. So because I always joke about that with Kiss, that with the original farewell tour, it was the last time the original 4 played together. So in a way, it still was a farewell tour, even though they're still performing 20 years later.
Fucking Warrior always blowing.
I mean, I'm amazed the guy's still vertical. The way he'd blow up. Usually he blew up running down to the ring. Maybe that's why he saved his breath a little bit by walking this match.
You can argue. Now, I know Warrior came back a year later. Got rehired by Vince. He's probably the only guy in the world that fucking fired you and rehired you immediately after. I thought if you had a job and you get fired, you're unrehirable.
Well, depends how much money your company can make from you. I mean that's why. I mean that's why everybody says even when CM Punk left and it had thrown WrestleMania that year into a tailspin, everybody's like, Vince will never bring him back. I'm like, are you kidding me? If there's money to be made,
of course
Vince McMahon will make that deal. Are you like he will always make that deal.
Somebody mad.
Jerry, big mad.
Beads. Taking out the beads. It was funny. As a kid, I never found her attractive because of the scary Sherry thing. Because you're
sure.
You follow the narratives. Now, that's my type right there.
What? A little bit rough around the edges, a little crazy.
Yes.
Not afraid to mix it up a little bit. Heck yeah.
Come on now. And my wife, Sherry, was a very nice. I heard she's a sweetheart.
I've heard she was one of the nicest people, and I know it broke up a lot of people when she passed away too.
Yeah, Pritchard especially. Pritchard loved her.
Mm-hmm.
But I heard that her and Liz and Macho were all really tight.
Oh sure.
Yeah. There's Liz taking her first bump ever since
there it is. Here she comes.
Look at this.
That's impressive to run that aisle with like heel boots on, man.
Must have practiced that. See what happens? You take 2 years off
out of the ring.
You take 2 years off from wrestling and come back, and it's Macho thinking that Sherry's still beating the shit out of her.
Oh yeah, because as a kid, I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna hit her.
Well, it wouldn't have been the first time.
Yeah,
on screen,
right?
The main event, '89. When the Megapowers broke up.
That's right.
And what are you doing here, Elizabeth?
Yeah, I love Elizabeth.
Pointing at what a rude motherfucker pointing at her.
Right? Even that wouldn't fly today, right? Like
Rude
you just
motherfucker.
man pointing at a
Hey,
woman.
Peacock, scrub that out too. watch it happen to her and Jerry. I actually cried when I saw this as a kid.
I think I did too. I'm sure I did.
Because if you follow wrestling long as we did, especially back then, you know, you're invested in this story.
Exactly.
This is storytelling at its finest.
Yeah.
Look at Randy.
He's like, what are you doing?
Right here. Because Liz, it's hard not to not like Liz.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, she's like, you know, she's like a motherly character. She's like, you know, she's just so wholesome.
Mm-hmm. I miss you, Randy. Randy's like, oh, I don't know.
It's like, what do I do? What do I do?
Shaking his head.
Dude, he was just so good. He was so intense at everything. He was just so good at every aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta love it, man. It was like,
I think it was cool
so
that
great.
Warrior. Yeah, it was cool that Warrior left the ring and let this play out. That was good.
Oh, sure. And like that, you know, that's the funnier part too, is that, you know, and I mean, obviously it was like the retirement angle or whatever, but like, you know, there was Warrior 1 and he's gone. He's just out. Like, because this is what the match really was about and the story was about, especially, you know, they keep showing Elizabeth in the crowd all throughout the match and everything too.
There it is. That kid crying.
That kid was all of us, man. Just
yeah, man.
Back together, man.
And then, of course, a couple months later, he proposes. Elizabeth, will you marry me? Classic. Although they've been married about 8 years at this point.
Yeah, when did they actually? Oh yeah, there's a grown adult lady in the crowd crying. See? Love it.
Storytelling at its finest.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
And this is what I miss about wrestling today.
Yeah,
granted, it's hard.
You get some good stories, but it's not. They're ones that are this good are so few and far between.
Mm-hmm. And this is literally a 6-year odyssey because remember, Macho came to the Federation in '85.
Yep.
He picks Elizabeth as his manager. Look. No, now he's a babyface again. Babyface. There you go. Babyface. Macho.
Like I'm doing the gentlemanly thing, letting you out of the ring. Yep, that so quick with the character change.
Mm-hmm. And like, well, I lost, but I got the lady. It's all good. Thinking.
Man, but I mean, just like his facial expressions, just his intensity, like his attention to detail. Very few in the business,
right,
come anywhere near him. Just, I mean, he was that good.
Yep,
and all the little details.
Yep, not a question. But again, you look back at it, this is probably definitely his last great match. And you've seen,
yeah. When you said that, you know, that's a really good point. And yeah, you know, I mean, obviously there may have been house shows or something where he had some good ones, but definitely on TV, definitely on pay-per-view, probably is his last really, really good match.
Yeah, see Pat Patterson.
Great match.
It's Pat Patterson following him behind. He's no longer with us too.
Yeah, man, it's nuts. Like the number of people from, you know, when we were younger that are gone. Like if you go back and look at these old, because I think one of the years we did a watch along on 3 Count, and you look down over the card and like over half the card was gone.
Right. And that's it. So
yeah, because
looking back now,
Boss Man and Perfect are both gone.
I watched, yeah, exactly. I watched that match at least once a year. So looking back now, how many stars did you give that match?
I mean, I'm not the biggest star guy, but I mean it's that match is an easy A. Like if I'm giving it a grade, like I don't necessarily do the star thing because I think it's a goofy and arbitrary thing, and
Yeah.
but that match is an A, dude. Like that match, there's storytelling, emotional investment, it climaxed a story. I mean, it just that's everything you want in a wrestling match. I mean,
The in-ring psychology is probably the one thing that stands out the most. Like when Macho gets his elbows in and doesn't hit, he loses shit. He's shocked. And then when Warrior does his stuff and Macho kicks out of that, he loses shit. And you're invested. It's about the moments. Sure. And that's what makes wrestling great is the moments. Sometimes you don't need all the air flying and stuff, all the theatrics. Sometimes just the subtle things are what makes a match great. Like Hogan and Rock at 18, for example.
Oh yeah. Same. And I mean, here's like, and that's for me, because everybody wants to talk about, number of moves and move sets and this and that, and I'm like, and don't get me wrong, like especially when we've worked with indie companies and you sit in the back and you see these guys and the way they put matches together and the way they talk about things and the level to which wrestlers perfect their craft is fantastic. But for me, sometimes it's as simple as getting emotionally invested. I mean, you look at Bret Hart and Owen Hart, WrestleMania 10. That doesn't have, a million flips. That doesn't have 1,000 moves. That doesn't have, 200, of this or that. But man, like that match is so good. Like get me emotionally invested. Get me attached to a story. Make me love something. Make me hate something. And I'm going to be much more into it.
And I think that's what makes Roman Reigns' current run right now so much fun. Is that there's now an emotional attachment to it now.
Well, like I saw a tweet, and it makes that match upcoming in this Mania hit so much harder. Roman Reigns almost had his career cut short because of his cancer, came back. Daniel Bryan almost had his career cut short with the injuries. Edge spent 9 years on the shelf, and the three of them are going to be main eventing for a title. That dude, like, I mean, I'm almost getting chills even just saying that part of it. Like, that is unbelievable in and of itself. And even for Roman Reigns, like, I mean, he took 5 months off or whatever because of a fucking pandemic. So, like, the fact that we're at this match right now, dude, it's fantastic. And Edge, I love the way that they're morphing Edge into, the rated R superstar.
It's kind of a tweener now. It's kind of this tweener sort of.
I mean, I almost argue that he's full-fledged heel in this one. And like, and I think what they realized, and obviously, and hopefully, I do hope you can join us for 3 count that, for our WrestleMania preview, but we'll talk about it here for a second, is like, I think they realized when you get to WrestleMania, this is the Roman Reigns we've been waiting for. He's booked as a heel. He ain't going to be booed. When that music hits at Tampa and 25,000 people, they're going to cheer that Roman Reigns. I think they realize that. So I think that's why they've had to morph Edge into this psychopath that snapped. Roman Reigns is Roman Reigns, and Daniel Bryan is kind of yes movement part 2, because it's Edge, they're gonna get Edge booed. Roman Reigns is gonna get cheered. Bryan's gonna get cheered.
Right. I'm actually kind of, at first I hate the idea of, the triple threat match. I don't like triple threat matches, for the record. I'm not a fan of it. But I kind of don't hate this idea because it's Daniel Bryan. I feel like I could trust Daniel Bryan to make it interesting because he's that great. And I was reminded how good he was.
I think Daniel's there. He's going to be the foil. Unfortunately, I think he's going to be the fall guy. If they do go with Edge, which I kind of hope they do, I think Daniel's your fall guy. To get the title off of Roman, because you don't want to have eat the fall.
I don't know, man. Yeah, true. I was kind of
like, if you're going to move the title, Daniel's there to be your fall guy.
Yeah.
Or maybe Edge is there to be the fall guy, and either Daniel or Roman's going to win. Like, but But yeah, the triple threat on this one, and I think my problem isn't necessarily triple threat matches. It's sometimes they go, especially on WrestleMania, they've sometimes gone to them. They've overdone them because they want to get a lot of people on the card. So you'll have a triple threat for the Intercontinental title, a triple threat for the women's title, and triple threat tag team for the tag team title and the ladder. And I'm like, can we do one-on-one for some of these, please? Like, can we just,
I agree.
Motherfucker, get him a one-on-one match?
Yeah, for once, man. You know what it is? I think Attitude Era kind of got me over it.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, they overdid everything.
Matches, I couldn't stand it. That's me. So, anyway, that was fun.
Definitely.
We'll do more of these again. I'm gonna make a list of future watch-alongs. I like to do these at least more often because I do think not just doing them to reflect on the match. It's easy to pull conversation out of this, to sidebar conversations out of this.
Oh, definitely, definitely, and that's what a lot of times I watch, because like you're not watching a watch along to hear me do commentary. Like right. It's a podcast within a podcast.
Right. I love it. So anyway, plug your stuff as always.
Yeah, of course. 3 Count Thursday. We go live Facebook.com/3 Count Thursday every obviously Thursday night, 8 Eastern time. WrestleMania week. We just posted our schedule. We'll be live on Tuesday before Takeover. And then we'll be live. We'll actually be live Friday night. We won't have a normal 3 count on Thursday nights that week, but we'll be live Friday night previewing WrestleMania and kind of wrapping up some thoughts on Takeover to get us ready for the weekend. You can also, my sports podcast, Huddle Up Podcast. We've kind of transitioned to like every 2 or 3 weeks. Things are going to be a little up in the air. My brother, who's like my main co-host, he's about to have his girlfriend's about to have their second kid.
Congrats.
So his congratulations, but so his availability is going to be limited. So it's the football off season. So we have cooled off a little bit on that one. And then discussions with the Nobody. I actually just recorded one tonight that I'll be dropping. So we'll trying to do a few more of those a little bit more frequently. I dropped one last week, another one dropping tonight. But you can follow me at Big Jim Sports, and then you go to my link tree on there, and literally everything's connected to it.
All right, brother. We'll talk soon. It was great as always. We'll do another one of these watch along soon.
Yes, sir.
Maybe more modern one. Maybe I did one during a pre-Attitude Era one. We just did one now in Hulkamania era. Now let's probably do one recent. I don't know.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, maybe do a Hell in a Cell with Fiend and Seth Rollins last year. I'm joking. I'm so joking.
Yeah, that's a match I never need to see.
Yeah, I'm so joking. The red light.
All right, man.
All these shit. All right, buddy. We'll talk soon, okay?
All right, see you, bud.
All right, buddy. Later.